Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my theater show at the afternoon. All of us are talking about the new play of Hamlet by William Shakespeare, and I have the special guest today in my show. Here, William Shakespeare. Woo! Excuse me. Welcome. Sit down, please. Here are water, cakes, whatever you want.
Thank you.
Okay. Here, your new play. Can you tell me in short what your new play Hamlet is about?
Well, Hamlet is a tragedy that takes place in Denmark. In the beginning of the play, the ghost of the recently deceased king Hamlet is found walking around the castle. Discovered and brought to his son, the ghost tells him that it was Claudius who murdered him, and in order to claim his throne and marry his wife, Queen Gertrude.
So Claudius is King Hamlet's brother, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so continue, please.
Hamlet feels responsible to avenge his father by killing Claudius, but he seems to go mad because he's unsure whether to trust the ghost or not.
Yeah, who could just trust a ghost like that?
I don't know. Well, later Polonius suggests that Hamlet is in love with his daughter Ophelia.
And is he really, or...?
At this part of the play, it doesn't appear so.
Okay, continue, please.
In order to prove Hamlet guilty, Hamlet arranges a play in which characters reenact the way Hamlet thinks his father was murdered. When the murder is about to take place, Claudius leaves due to his bad conscience.
So that's the proof Hamlet needed.
Exactly. At that point, he makes up his mind to kill him.
Ah, but when Hamlet finds Claudius praying, he passes up the chance, yeah.
Correct. Hamlet goes to confront his mother. He notices someone hiding behind the curtain. Thinking it was Claudius, Hamlet stabs his sword through the fabric. As it turns out, Hamlet killed Polonius, though. For his crime, Claudius banishes Hamlet to England with papers for the king saying he needs to be put to death. Upon hearing of her father's death, Ophelia goes mad and drowns in a river, which makes Polonius' son, Laertes, come back from France in a rage. Also, Hamlet returns home, and he's confronted with Ophelia's funeral. He suffers.
Of course, so he really was in love with her.
Would it truly be a tragedy if he wasn't?
Of course not. Continue, please.
Claudius uses Laertes' rage to secure Hamlet's death. He arranges a friendly fencing match between Laertes and Hamlet.
And then what?
Claudius poisons Laertes' blade, as well as a goblet of wine, in case Hamlet scores the first points.
Does Hamlet score first then?
Yes, indeed, but he declines to drink. Queen Gertrude happens to drink it instead and dies immediately.
Ah, then what happens? I mean, who's getting hit first?
Laertes wounds Hamlet first, but he doesn't die right away. When Laertes then cuts himself with the poisoned blade, he tells Hamlet that Claudius is the cause for his mother's death.
Oh no. So what does Hamlet do then?
He stabs Claudius and makes him drink the poison.
Does Hamlet survive?
No, with his revenge, his life ends.
So wait, the whole royal family ends up dying?
Yeah.
So who's gonna lead Denmark then?
A Norwegian princess. Upon hearing Hamlet's story from a friend of his, he orders that Hamlet be carried away in a manner befitting a fallen soldier. It's okay.
Okay. Here. So your intention with the... Oh, sorry. What's this all about, this play? This is the end.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your intention with this play was to examine the way of how to act rationally.
Partially, yes. But it's much more than that. It's also about the impossibility to be certain that mystery death is providing.
What do you mean with the impossibility of being certain?
Well, Hamlet is in a tricky situation, you know. He doesn't know what to believe. Should he just kill his uncle because this ghost accused him to have killed his dad? How can he be sure it's true? He would need to deal with the fact that he killed an innocent family member if it wasn't.
So, you are talking about uncertainty concerning the appearance of ghosts.
Yeah, I mean, Do we have certain knowledge about ghosts at all? Is the ghost what it appears to be, or is it really just a misleading fiend? Does the ghost have reliable knowledge about its own death at all, or is it possible that it's deluded itself?
Yeah, I see. Do you have anything else you are getting at with this impossibility of certainty?
Sure, I mean, the play covers questions of more earthly and philosophical matters too. For example, the audience is led to doubt that Claudius killed the king without the crime having any witnesses. Is that possible at all? I mean, nobody knows, it's uncertain.
Yeah, I know what you mean. After what you have been telling me about the plot, I was asking myself how Hamlet wanted to find out if his uncle really was the murderer.
Yeah, exactly. Can Hamlet know about what Claudius did by simply observing how he behaves? And Claudius, is he able to know the state of Hamlet's mind by examining his behavior? No, all of their actions follow speculations only.
None of them is really based upon facts. And even if we act on plain speculations, we can't know if our actions will have the consequences they were supposed to have.
Well, exactly. We don't know anything about the afterlife. Again, we are uncertain about it, just like we are about so many things.
So, is it possible for Hamlet to take any reasonable, purposeful action at all?
Well, that's as well a question this play is dealing with.
What else?
Actions don't just rely on certainty, but also on a variety of emotional, ethical, and psychological factors.
Like what?
For example, Hamlet seems to distrust the idea that it's possible to act controlled and purposeful. When he acts, he does it rather rashly and impulsively. The other characters, on the other hand, just tend to act as they feel it is appropriate. But in a sense, Hamlet's excessive thoughts about how to act are proven right, because all of the other characters' actions are miscarried as they're less troubled about acting effectively.
True, now that you mention it. Let's go on to the other themes you said this play would cover. You mentioned the mystery of death. What were you trying to refer to by that?
Yeah, death plays a big role in this tragedy, as the whole royal family comes to death by the end of the play. Hamlet himself is obsessed with it ever since his father was murdered. So death becomes not just the cause of revenge, but also the consequence of it. Also, the question of his own death is going through his mind continuously, as he contemplates whether or not suicide is a morally legitimate action in an unbearably painful world.
You mean when in all his grief he considers to commit suicide to end his suffering, but in the end he doesn't because it would be against his Christian's beliefs?
Right, this is what makes his monologue in front of the mirror so important, in which he makes use of the meaningful phrase to be or not to be.
And what is the monologue about?
Hamlet pretty much concludes that no one would choose to endure the pain of life if he or she wasn't afraid to what will come after death.
I wish I could see it for myself. The play sounds amazingly interesting.
Thank you. If you want to, my preferred actor for the role of Hamlet can give you a short insight into his soliloquy. For the rest of the play, you'll have to come to the Big Ben Avenue on Sunday and see for yourself.
I sure do, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
You're
Great.
welcome.
Really great.
Okay.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of troubles, and by opposing end them, to die, to sleep, no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks, that flesh is higher to. 'Tis a consummation, devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death what dreams may come, when we have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of disprized love, the law's delay, the insolence of office and the spurns, that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with the bare bodkin? Who would these fowls bear, to grunt and sweat under very life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have, than fly to others that we know not of. Those conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sick-light o'er with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pith and moment. With this regard their currents turn away, and lose the name of action. Soft you now,